Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the Two Ewes of Two Ewes Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at twoewesfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our Two Ewes Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Hi, Kelly.
Hey, Marsha. We're recording at wine time, happy hour. We're having a happy hour episode tonight.
I know. Yes.
So at my house, there might be some noise in the background because both Robert and Aunt Betty are watching the convention downstairs. And prior to us actually recording, there has been yelling.
Okay.
Cheering, etc.
Like
going on.
Cheering or like, okay, cheering. Okay.
Yes. Or at first there was yelling about, hey, do you have it on? I've only got news. Where are you listening? Where are you watching? Because, we don't have TV, so none of us have TV, so it's all streaming. And and then it was, hey, Kelly, can you send Aunt Betty the link?
So there might be some interruptions, right, during this, people yelling for can you get me started again?
For tech assistance, I don't think so. I think I'm okay on the tech assistance front, yeah. So that's good. I am sitting here thinking about my next couple of days are the first days of school. These are the last few hours of my summer vacation, and I'm sharing them with everyone.
Well, you always like the start of the school year, though, right?
Yeah, I do. I've actually, of course, as everyone knows, I've been popping in and out of school and meetings and stuff all summer, off and on. Not major, but enough, that it feels like I have something going on every week. And then this week Monday I did a presentation. Oh no, what did I do Monday? Monday, I had a meeting to get ready for a presentation. Tuesday, I did a presentation for the new part-time and full-time faculty orientation. And then today, I went in this morning for a new employee. So all the employees who either got a promotion or are new in the last whole year have a new employee orientation. So I was there for that to be introduced, and there was a little, panel discussion thing. So I did that this morning, and then I came home. I didn't have to stay there very long, but before I came home, I popped into this office and talked to that person, gathered some intel, popped into this other office, talked to another person, gathered more intel, or I guess you could call it gossiping. So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being back. I actually am. And true to form, the weather is beautiful. We're in the high 70s this week. Getting hotter as the week. As we get closer to Thursday and Friday when school starts, the temperatures are getting hotter. So, which is typical. So, but I'm ready. Yeah.
Well, I was just now that we're talking about weather, made me think. I want to look at the weather. It's changed because I'm having, let's see, Saturday. Ooh, I'll just tell you what's going on in my life. I'm having Kim retired. And this is, I think, week 3 of retirement. And
wow.
Very excited and everything. But anyway, I am having a little retirement party for her. And I was planning on having it on the deck, but I'm just looking ahead at the weather. I've been watching the weather, and it's going to be cloudy, but 70, 72. But I just looked at it now, and it's Saturday, high of 63 and a 65% chance of rain.
Oh, wow.
So I think we'll be inside. And it's not going to be, I think there's only, I counted it up. I think there's only like 14 of us. I think it's not a huge group because a lot of people I've not heard. I think there's about 8 people I've not heard from. So they may show up. I don't know. But But I thought since I'm getting the garden all cleaned up to have the retirement party on the deck, might as well just have a block party the next day. So stupid. So stupid. I was like, anyway, but I thought I just kind of want to get it over because then we get into the following weekend is Labor Day. And I think a lot of people go out of town. So I thought this was sort of my last chance to have it. So so I've got quite a few people coming. So but it's simple. All I'm doing is providing non-alcoholic beverages, plates and cutlery and cups and napkins. And I'm just I've got some chips and dips, and I'm debating whether I'm going to make a casserole or anything, but it's not like I'm doing all the food.
Right.
It's potluck, right? So everybody brings something.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be kind of fun.
Yeah.
We have a lot of new neighbors, so I think that'll be kind of fun, but I've been busy with that.
Yeah.
But I am now a little worried. I think I might as well just plan on setting it up inside because it's going to be raining. So actually makes it easier if it's inside because I can just keep the champagne and the other beverages in the refrigerator and not because I don't have a cooler for beverages. I have to find something. Oh, so it actually kind of makes it easier if I just have it in the house, truthfully. So anyway, well,
you'll have to tell Kim congratulations for me.
Yeah,
I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, I think the last time you saw her probably was when we were in Albany, Oregon for Black Sheep, and that's a couple of years ago now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of people when they retire, I think there's excitement about all the things, you can now you're free to do. And she's going to the gym every day, and so she's pretty excited, and she's also going to buy her loom. She's placing her order in the next couple of days, I think. She told me Sunday, we had dinner together, that she's going to place her order with Eugene Textile. Oh, I know what I went. I think this is so sweet. So she's going to order her loom through Eugene Textiles. And I was asking about, has she been in contact with anybody from her job? And she said yes, because they messaged her to get online, and they had a gift for her. And her gift was a gift certificate to Eugene Textiles.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was so sweet.
That's really nice. Yeah.
That's really nice because, that is a really, what's the word I wanted? Like
personal. Thoughtful.
Yeah, it's very personal and thoughtful. Yeah, because it's not it's very, very thoughtful and personal. So she's very touched by that. So she's going to place her order. So her retirement, she's going to be, her plan is traveling, and she's doing agility with her dog. She's found another place to do agility.
Oh, that's cool.
She's going to get her loom. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But, So, and, but what I was say though is like all excited about the future and what this next chapter. But then I think a lot of times when people retire, even though they look at the numbers and it's okay to retire, it's difficult that you've spent all these years saving, and now you go into that mode where you have to tap into the pot. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people, right? Because you have to change your mindset, and then also changing your mindset around your identity, that you're identified by, when you go to a party, people ask you, what do you do? And you have and I don't know how it is around the world, but in the United States, it seems like when we ask, what do you do? It's not what you do for fun, your hobbies. Yeah. It's what's your job? So I think that's also really hard to for many people, not always, but for some people, it's difficult to sort of give that up too. So
I'm sitting here thinking about it as you're talking, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't do that.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad she's got things planned and is excited about doing things, and that was really nice for them to contribute to her. To her loom. So I'm excited to see what she weaves. And that aspect of, she could really get into it. She could just continue to be a casual weaver in retirement, but I can imagine her getting really seriously into it, you know?
I think she's really going to take off with the weaving because Kim is very technical with her. She's a very technical knitter, and always looking for very
hard
projects that fit well and finding things that fit well, and then also her. I was like, this is. I was going to say, I'm just about to say, our last episode is remembered as a knitting podcast. This is not the Kim podcast, but I would say she also loves, like with Fair Isle, her favorite thing about Fair Isle is all the swatching to figure out color combinations. Where my personality is like, oh my God, I want to get the swatching done so I can get to the knitting, the gauge swatch. I want to get that done so I can get to the real knitting. And I think she's just a very precise and technical knitter, fiber artist.
And that is a fun aspect of weaving for a lot of people. The gamps, right? Weaving a gamp where you, where you have strips, vertical strips of all the different colors of yarn. Like, let's say you buy, a variety of colors from a shop. So you make vertical, in your warp, you put vertical stripes of all those colors. And then in your weft, you do horizontal stripes of all of those colors. So you can see how every color looks by itself and how every color looks with every other color. And then you can do the same thing with threading, right? So you can thread vertical strips different ways with different designs. And then you can weave horizontally with those designs and see how every treadling, which is what you do horizontally, matches with every threading, which is your vertical. And then once you do that, you can pick like, oh, I really like the way this one looks. Now I'm going to make a whole project out of that. And there are a lot of, there are a lot of really good reasons to do those things. And I like doing it. I like seeing what happens. But I do it in a dish towel and then I send the dish towel off to somebody. So I'm not doing it so I have a record, right, of what I want to do next. Or like even the stuff I kept, I made napkins for the trailer and there are some of those designs that I really like, but they're not labeled. So I couldn't tell you how I got it, If I wanted to do a whole tablecloth of this design, I would have to experiment all over again to find, which combination.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kim's the personality that she'd label them.
Yes, I know. And that's why I'm thinking this could be the perfect thing. This could be the perfect thing. There's my aspirational self that does that. Yeah. And even if I'm going to use it, like I could photograph it and I could document it in my weaving notebook, or I could document it in Ravelry so I have it to refer back to, but none of that happens. And somewhere in the middle of the weaving project, I'm like, oh, let's just try this. And I don't even write it down in my notebook. And let's try that. And let's throw in a little bit of this. I'm not that disciplined. Or yes, my aspirational self versus my real self. Yeah, so it sounds like she's going to have a really good time.
Yeah, no, I think she is. And then I have to give a couple updates too. Before we get into the reason why people listen to our podcast, what we think.
I honestly think this is the reason people listen to our podcast. All this random crap we talk about.
So update on the garage. I can't remember now when we recorded the last time where I was. Had the painters been here, or was I still prepping for painters? I don't remember.
I think the painters had already been there. But you know what? I don't remember either, to tell you the truth.
I don't know. Anyway, the
people are yelling it out at their at their phones and their car speakers.
Anyway, the painters came, and I've got everything back in the garage, and I'm now in a little bit of a hole. I still have all the junk that was supposed to go to the architectural salvage place. They've never responded to me.
I thought you had gone. The guy was on vacation. Oh, he was on vacation, but...
Well, he was on vacation, and then he came back, And what the thing is, I was just going to give all the stuff to them. I wasn't even think they were going to buy it from me. I was just donating it. And then he said to me, how much money do you want for it? I'm like, that was the last email from him. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Well, how about this? So I just put some prices, and then I've never heard back from him, and I've emailed him a bunch of times. So
now you should email him back and say, how about free?
Free. Yeah. So I can do that. I don't know. So I have to, but I've now put everything back into the middle bay, where my car goes, because I just had to get it out of the backyard because I have 2 parties coming up.
Yes.
And I can't get my car in there. So that's okay. But I really can't do anything, because now I have an electrician coming on September 9th to put in some outlets.
Oh, right.
So anyway, I'm just kind of in a holding pattern until that. And then the other thing, just an update on the dog. So you know this, Kelly, and I posted, but he's had these 2 cysts that have been really, I've been worried about, and the vet's been watching them. But when I came back from the California trip, one of the cysts on his neck was getting bad, really bad, and so it took when I came back in April, and the soonest they could get him in for surgery was Friday, the 16th of August. So he went in for surgery, and he had the cyst on his neck removed, and he had a cyst sort of on his rump, kind of. They removed that, and then since he was being anesthetized, they just went ahead and cleaned his teeth too.
Yeah.
So well, I sent you a picture, and I posted on Instagram. He has the ugliest poodle cut now, because he had to shave. He has a big rectangular shaped patch on his rump and a big rectangular patch on his neck. So he looks horrible. In fact, I kind of laugh, though, because the way they've shaved him on his backside, it sort of looks like his pants are falling down, because he's all curly hair and then the smooth, and so it totally looks like his pants are falling down. Anyway, but he's doing fine, because people had commented on him, so he's doing fine. He's actually asleep here on the floor, so they recover pretty quickly, I think.
They do. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was just going to say too, and we'll get into this here but I went to Flock last Sunday.
Oh yeah.
It was down at the Seattle Convention Center. I'm so out of touch with what's going on in Seattle. I didn't realize that they had built a new convention center. I mean, and it's not attached. It's like a block away. Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
And really great. Really great. I mean, it's really interesting inside. In fact, this might be too much information, but we had to use the restroom, and the toilets used rainwater to flush the toilets.
Oh my gosh.
It's non-potable rainwater to flush all the toilets. Isn't that interesting?
That is.
And the vendors, this is Seattle, the vendors were not allowed to have any bags. So if you bought something, you had to have your own bag, or you had to buy a bag from them. You couldn't have a plastic bag or even a paper bag that they were giving out to carry your stuff home. So very,
green,
strict, very green, but beautiful convention center. And I would say too, is really nice because the lighting is very good in there for all that, for seeing. I think for anybody who's going to have an event in that space, they're going to be really happy with the lighting, because it was great for seeing the color of the yarn.
Oh, that's good. Because a lot of times those places are not very good lighting.
Yeah. A lot of times I don't. And this has at least where we were, the space we were in was excellent lighting. But I wanted to say, I kept calling it Flock Fiber. I don't think that's really the name of it, because I looked at the graphic and it says Flock. And then underneath it, it just says in small letters, Fiber Event. So I think it's really just called Flock.
It's just called
not
Flock,
Fiber. Yeah.
Well, I know
the graphics.
Originally, there was a Flock and Fiber. They were doing something like that, but there's already Oregon Flock and Fiber, and there was.
Yeah.
I don't know if it. I don't know if it ever got to cease and desist level, or if it was just sort of consternation, but I do remember there was some talk about that at one point.
Well, and as I say, everybody in my circle kept referring to flock fiber. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because it is Oregon flock and fiber. So I was wondering how they could do that. But anyway, it's actually called flock.
It's just called flock. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
At least that's how it appears from the graphics. So,
was it busy?
Anyway.
Did they have a lot of people flocking to flock?
Yeah, it was pretty. Well, we went on a Sunday and we got there I think it opened at 10. And we got there. I mean, well, the truth is, Kim bought the tickets, and she said it's at the convention center. So we went to the old part of the convention center. So then, I don't know, by the time we actually got back over to the correct place, it was probably 10:30. And it was, there was a good crowd there, but it was not crazy busy where you couldn't get into a booth or struggle to get down an aisle. And they had really wide aisles. And it was also nice, too, because Sunday, I think from 10 to 12, you had to wear a mask so that they were trying to accommodate everybody, So, I don't mind wearing a mask. It was fine.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, that's cool.
Anyway. Okay.
They were able to, because I know last year they had more crowd than they could really handle.
It was,
so it's good that it was
Magnus.
Still well attended.
Yeah.
And a nicer, better venue. So that's really cool.
Yeah. 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 So anyway, okay. Should we get on to it?
Sure.
Get into the real meat of the podcast.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you want to go first? Or?
Sure, yeah. I'll go first. I am sitting here. If there have been awkward pauses while Marsha was talking, it was because I was concentrating on my knitting. I don't think I did that to you, Marsha, but
everything seemed fine. Yeah. Okay.
I am knitting on my brand new sweater project. This is the first sweater I've had on the needles since what did we say? We said this last time. I want to say like December of 2022.
Well, it was
2021, something like that.
It was the sort of rust colored sweater that you made.
Dark green forest. And we talked about it before. I finished it in time to wear to NoCKRs.
Or stitches, I think.
You're right, Marsha. I finished it in time. I finished it in time to wear it to Stitches in Sacramento.
Yes.
The first time back.
Because it's called dark green forest, but it's actually rust colored, which always confuses me.
Yes. Well, because anyway. I'm going to go on another little diversion.
Okay.
I
just tell we're getting ready to go.
You know how you watch those. It's been a long time since I've watched them, but we watch them when we stay in a hotel a lot, where people are going to buy a house, those house flipping shows, or like finding an international house or whatever on HGTV. And it always just like made me nuts how people would say, oh, this is an awful color. These walls are terrible color. Or they'd walk in and they'd say, well, this couch is awful. Well, none of that is part of the house. Right? Like you can paint when you paint when you move in, right?
Right.
You bring your own furniture to the house. And I think that about patterns too. Like I'm bringing my own yarn to the pattern. So if I were a pattern designer, I don't think I would ever name a pattern related to the color of the yarn I used to make it. Unless I was making something like a pumpkin hat.
Yeah, you would. Like instead of dark green forest, you just call it dark forest.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, not a criticism of the pattern or the designer, but I just always wonder about that kind of thing in patterns because people are probably not going to use the same color that you use. I mean, some people are, I guess. We used to go to, another little small tangent. We used to go, related to this, we used to go to the fabric store a lot back when they had real fabric stores. In most cities. I was a kid and I would love to go to the fabric store with my mom. And I'd walk around the fabric store and I'd touch all the bolts of fabric. And I had this dream in my mind that there were two things I wanted to do when I grew up. And one of them was to have a fabric store or work in a fabric store. I don't think I thought about like owning it myself, but work in a fabric store or work in a nursery. And I think it's because both of those places, when you're a kid, your parents can let go of you in the store. You know, like you didn't have to be drug around where you can't touch anything. And I loved going to the fabric store and I loved going to the nursery. And so, but I remember going to the fabric store and my sister would always choose, once she chose the pattern, and then she would look around the fabric store for a pattern for the fabric that looked just like the picture on the front of the pattern little bag, you know, the little paper bag that the little paper envelope that the pattern came in. She would always do that. Right. So I think there are people who do that with patterns. They look at the pattern, they look at the pattern page, they look at that and they're like, I like that. I like it in that color, that combination, that yarn. Most of the time, people are not using exactly the same color. They might be using exactly the same yarn, but probably not exactly the same color. So back to my knitting.
Rant over. Okay.
Yes. Back to my new sweater. What new sweater are you making, Kelly?
Yes. Okay. I should be asking that question. Kelly, what is your new sweater?
It's called Graffito. It's the one we were talking about in the last episode. And the pattern is written by Heidi Marie Kaiser, a German pattern designer, I believe. And I am using, I think I'm the only person in the project pages that is using a variegated yarn for the contrast color. So I'm using a pink and light blue and green variegated yarn that was the NoCKRs colorway for this year, and it's Seismic Yarns, and it has silk in it, so I'm pretty sure it's the butter silk sock base. And then the other yarn, the main color, is Invictus Yarns. I don't know how you pronounce this, Seraphic. It's also silk. Yeah, and I also think it has cashmere in it. So it's really, both of these are really nice yarns. I am going to love this sweater. I'm going to love the feel of this sweater. It's just going to be really nice. Very soft. I think I might be able to wear it, like just wear it with only a bra under and no undershirt, no turtleneck, no anything. That I'm not going to count on, but it feels really soft right now. And so both of those were retreat yarns, one from 2023 and one from 2024 from the NoCKRs retreat. One's called Bautista and the other one I think is just called NoCKRs. I don't think the NoCKRs colorway is on the Seismic Yarns website for sale. But anyway, this pattern is so much fun. It only has, what did you say, 40 projects?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend that we blow up this pattern. Like, everybody should make this. It is so fun. So it starts out with some purl rows and then some yarn over rows that make a bunch of holes around the neckline. And then it goes into brioche, which that was pretty fun, but it was only like 16 rows of brioche, or maybe 10 to 15 rows of brioche. So I got a little taste of it, but I didn't have to do it for too long. And it was fun. And then it goes from there into these little things called mini nups or mini noops, which are like kind of like baubles, but they're not super big. You knit a bunch of stitches together and it makes a little knotted thing. So there's one of those. And now I'm on the row. I'm just finishing up a row where we had to slip stitches for a bunch of rows, slip the same stitch for a bunch of rows. So the stitch got really elongated. And now I'm using a cable needle to make all those elongated stitches lean over diagonally across the knit stitches below them. So fun. Something different every few rows. And of course that's my jam, I like doing this kind of thing where you get to just a little tasting menu of stitches. So that's what I'm working on right now. And most of it is in the contrast color, the variegated, but there are highlights of the main body color throughout this little interesting yoke section. And then once I get to my goal was to get to the easy part by tomorrow. I don't know that I'll do that. I'm not sure. I think I have mosaic slip stitches, more slip stitches that I think are going to be like mosaic knitting to make a design. But anyway, I think I might bring it tomorrow to school.
And then
to work
are
on.
you going to make it long sleeve or shorts? Because it shows it like not 3/4, but like above the elbow.
Yeah.
Are you going to make it long sleeve?
I think I'm going to make it 3/4. My other sweater that I made of her patterns, I can't remember what the name of that one is. I made it with the Dragonfly Fibers yarn. Anyway, that other sweater I have is like a 3/4 length, just past the elbow. I have another sweater that I like, and I think they call it bracelet length, where it's like most of the way down your forearm, but not all the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Havana is the other sweater that I made. Oh, you know what? That one doesn't go past my elbow. I'm looking at the picture right now. That one goes just to my elbow. So, short sleeves, but long short sleeves. And so I don't know. I might do the same thing with this one. I was thinking I would do the same length of sleeve because I really like that Havana sweater. It just has it's just easy to wear and really convenient. Goes with everything almost, and not too warm, not too cool. So I might do the same. I'm not positive. I'll play that by ear. But anyway, loving this new project. I think this sweater will be really fun. I guess her pattern is I'm looking at her pattern. She has it in both lengths, a short sleeve length and a long sleeve length. So yeah, I'll decide when I get there. It'll be somewhere probably between the two lengths that she has. So anyway, that is my new exciting shiny project with beautiful
Very
yarn.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you've inspired me. I've been thinking I have to cast. I'll talk about my projects, but I don't really have I don't have a sweater on the needles anymore. So.
Ooh. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so you have you're open for. I might cast on a second sweater. I might have two sweaters going at the same time. That would be wild.
Ooh.
Big excitement here at my house.
I know.
So anyway, that's that pattern. And I am using my new election season project bag. Our friend Brenda has a shop for project bags, Good Stuff Crafts. And she put a post of a Kamala Harris project bag that she had in her shop. And so I bought one. So because it's the convention, I'm knitting from, I put my project in this bag. Has little pictures of her and her signature all around on the fabric. Real cute. I put the link to the Brenda's shop in the show notes. Check out her store. I have a couple of her bags. I can't remember the other one that I bought, but I've bought a project bag from her before. I really like her bags. They're nice. And then the socks, I put a few rows on the socks. I finished up one sock. I started the second sock, and I've put a few rows of the leg. The cuff is done and I'm onto the leg of the sock. So I'm just kind of curious about we haven't talked about this in a while, people's sock preferences. I do all my socks top down. I have tried toe up. Don't prefer it. Not because of fit, just because I like making the ribbing at the top. I like that start of the sock with the 2x2 ribbing. So I do mine top down. I always use double points. I have done, when I started knitting socks, I used 2 circular needles.
Yeah.
After my first try with double points, I used 2 circular needles. And I felt like that was game changing. It's like, I love this. Why would anyone use double points when they can do 2 circular needles? And I did that for years. And then somehow I ended up back on double points, and I just like double points. I've done magic loop. I'm not a big fan of magic loop. It's okay, but I don't love it. And my needles are wooden, those birch needles, size 0. So just curious, everybody's sock preferences I know are just slightly different. There are so many things to choose from, right? What size needles, what kind of needles, top down, toe up. I do basic heels. I don't do anything fancy in the heel, no fish lips kiss or anything like that. So just kind of curious what other people do, but no other big news about my sock. I was just thinking about sock preferences and thought I'd throw that out there. And then in terms of spinning, I finished the braid I was working on. So I have a finished 3-ply skein of BFL to make more socks. And then I started carding the wash Shetland. It's all picked. I started carding it. It's not that much fiber. It's about 4 ounces of fiber. So I'm almost done. I'm hoping to be done by September with the carding of the Swint bath experiment.
Okay.
So that's all my projects.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot to report in. I finished my Poppy Tea by Joe Cottle. And yes, I know, I'm excited. And I have not washed and blocked it. I have a few more ends to weave in, and then I'll wash it. And Kelly, my swatch, I put in the washing machine with some other stuff, and I put it in the dryer with other stuff. But I am having some difficulty making myself put my finished sweater in the washing machine in the dryer, as you can understand.
Yes.
But I should just do it, right?
You should. Okay. Did the swatch come out good?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you should do it.
I mean, the swatch came out fine, and that's why I based the whole sweater on the swatch, the gauge of the swatch.
Then you need to wash the sweater that way, too.
I know.
Yes. And what, remind me the yarn, the composition of the yarn.
Okay, it's called Purelife Revive by Rowan, and it's 36% cotton, 30% silk, and 28% rayon.
Yes. Wash it. Don't dry it in a hot dryer.
No, I never use hot.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. But no, that's fine. Okay. You should definitely wash it and dry it. Yes.
Okay. Anyway, and then I am...
You could leave out the other stuff if you wanted to. If you were worried that other stuff in the washer would bleed on it or abrade it or something. But definitely wash it. And it definitely needs to be washed because it's a little, I don't know what the word I want to say. It's not harsh or rough, but the unwashed Stiff.
cotton has a different feel than the washed cotton.
Yeah. Silk too.
Anyway,
can do that.
Okay. Emotional support chicken. Haven't even picked it up. But I've been working on my socks, and so I'm about to start the gusset of my second sock.
Ooh. That's good.
So I'm making progress because I haven't picked that up for a really long time.
Right. They've been sort of languishing
and it was mostly because I was just working on that sweater, so much. But
it's
anyway,
more fun.
But anyway, I just have to touch base on my spinning. So I don't know what's going on with me, Kelly. I'm just having a hard time getting kind of inspired. So the last time I talked, about this, the big giant 2.2 pound ball of Targhee roving, and it's kind of like a toffee color. I think I was about to pull off, or maybe I did, I can't remember, but I pulled off 4 ounce bundles of the fiber. And
you had dyed them
over
by the last episode.
Yes, and I did 2. And I did one in the color spruce, which is kind of a bluey green. And I did one in, it was fire engine red, but I added a little bit of yellow, just a tiny little bit of yellow and a little bit of navy. And it turned out this beautiful sort of burgundy color. And so I was so inspired. Then I spent 2 days dyeing 2 more 4-ounce bundles of the fiber. One I did turquoise, and it looks exactly like spruce. And then I did hot fuchsia, and it looks exactly like the burgundy. So it's really, so I kind of got I kind of lost my enthusiasm for it. That's not to say I'm not going to go back to it, but I just suddenly well, why are they turning? And now the thing is, I'm over dyeing a brownie toffee color, right? That's going to affect if you put blues on it, or what are the 3 primary? Red, blue, and
yellow.
I'm sorry. Red, blue, and yellow. It's going to be affected by the base, which is what I wanted to experiment with. But it kind of, and what I was listening back to the last episode, and this is still true, I had said, just spin it up and you can always over dye it again, right? If you want to have more distinction. But I kind of lost my mojo on it, just a little bit. So I just put it back in the bag, and it's sitting in the library, and I will get to it. But I thought I just need to do something a bit more fun. So I pulled out the braid that I bought when I went to California, and I was coming back from Palm Springs, and I stopped in Redlands, California, and I picked up a skein of Alexandra Art of the Yarn. It's 50% merino, 25% silk, and 25% bamboo. 4 ounces in the colorway Chelsea, which is basically like a rainbow.
Oh, nice.
So I think what my plan is, when I bought this braid, what I want to do is I'm going to split it in half. One half I'm just going to spin straight, right? I'm just going to spin it. And then the other half I'm going to split into 4 pieces. So I get shorter, depending on how many pieces I can split it into. But the idea is that I'll have long color repeats, and then I'll apply it with short color repeats is kind of my idea.
That'll be nice.
So that's basically all I have with projects. And then I want to cast on another sweater, and I was actually thinking of doing the we had talked about it last week. It's called Why Not by Rachel Ilse. I was thinking of doing that. But now I'm kind of inspired by your discussion about graffito. And then I was also our friend Kelly Brook. You know how you can see what your friends are, what they have favorited? And she favorited this really cool sweater. It looks like it's called Belfair. And I will tell you who the Hiromi Nagasawa. And it's a pullover. Yeah, Belfair, Belfair. And it looks like basket weave. It's a very interesting sweater.
Oh,
very
yes.
boxy. Isn't that cute?
That is cute.
Thank you, Kelly, for favoring it, because I found it in her favorites. And it's bulky, and I have the yarn that I got from Jean in Seabrook. Remember when I was down there with Kim in May and rummaging through the garage. I have some that I think might work for that. So I'm kind of thinking of making that sweater.
That's cute. I made a baby blanket with that sort of basket weave pattern where you do stockinette and reverse stockinette, or stockinette and garter. I think it looks like reverse stockinette. But that's cute.
Let me look at this. Yes, it's stockinette, and it looks like garter stitch, or maybe it is reverse. I'm not sure. Yeah, to your point. Anyway, very cute. Anyway, I don't know.
That is cute. And another designer that I'm not familiar with. That'll be good. Whatever you start will be really cool. I have 2 vest patterns that Tracy, Littletown Knitter, gave me. I opened my Ravelry one morning and saw that I had a vest pattern, and then the next morning I had another vest pattern. Anyway, she was thinking about me and saw this pattern. And this first one, I had seen it on Instagram. It's the Bifurca vest. Bifurca by Teddy Lutsak. And when I first saw it, it was Apple Creek Merinos, Lauren from Apple Creek Merinos. She had knit it with her own sheep's yarn. And I saw it on Instagram. And I thought, that's a really interesting vest. It has a colorwork yoke that's really square and blocky. It goes over the shoulders and in the front. It's not a round yoke. And so I thought, oh, that'll be really fun. I don't know if I had mentioned it anywhere or if Tracy saw it in my favorites or what, but anyway. And then the other one that I think would be fun to have for fall is called the Maple Vest. And this is the type of vest that I see in Ravelry a lot called a slip over. And maybe in other countries, sweater vests are called slipovers. That might just be the name, the nomenclature for it. But it looks like a regular sweater vest on the top, but the sides are slit. And then there's a detail in the ribbing.
Yoon-jeong, is that? Okay.
And so the ribbing at the bottom is quite long and has, it's not really just ribbing. It actually has a design in it, and maybe it's brioche. It looks like 1x1 ribbing with a design on it.
Yeah, this is cute.
And then the back, it looks like the back has even longer ribbing, or the side panel that goes up continues that same ribbing. And it's worn over a blouse that you wear untucked, which I have a couple blouses that I do wear untucked, and I always feel like they look a bit messy. But with a vest over the top, I would look a little more pulled together. And so anyway, those are in my wish list. So, it's possible I could start a second sweater-ish project before too long here.
That's very cute.
Yeah, I thought so. Thank you, Tracy, for thinking about me.
I'm clicking through, and one of my yarns in my stash, they've used. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, and the other thing too is I noticed that this pattern, I'm noticing a lot of this recently where they're combining fingering and lace to equal sport weight. Are you finding a lot of patterns now are doing that?
Yeah.
A lot of times the lace is like a mohair or something.
Yeah, and I am not going to do that, but I'm thinking that some of my hand spun might work perfectly for that this is cute.
Maple
vest.
It's in my favorites now.
All right. So yeah, we have lots of choices for our future plans, but I'm enjoying this sweater right now. So that's this is my go-to project at the moment. I took it with me to dog training class last night. Knit on the way to class instead of taking my socks. That's why the socks have been sitting there, kind of like your socks. They get set aside in favor of something more exciting. So anyway, so that's all my projects. Do you have others?
No, that's all I have. Yeah.
All right. Well, our summer spinning is coming to an end soon, September 2nd. Labor Day here in the U.S. is the end of the summer spinning. Lots of cool projects coming into the finished object pages. So if you're working on a spinning project, be sure and put your finished projects into the finished object thread that we have going. We're not sure what we're going to do about Purl 2 Walla Walla.
So, as we said in the last episode, we discovered that they've closed. But I was telling Kelly before we started recording that when I went to Flock, they were there. They had a booth. And I talked to them, and they've closed their brick and mortar store, but they're going to have pop-ups. And so she said if I signed up for the newsletter, I would get information about a pop-up. I did tell her that we are going to be there in September and in Walla Walla, and we're going to be there, why we're going to be there. So she said that they hadn't set a date for September for the pop-up, so they want to do the pop-up the weekend that we're there because there'll be a lot of people visiting Walla Walla.
Yeah,
right,
it's a big crowd for the reunion, yes.
Yeah. So, but I have not received any information, so we'll be recording again. So if people are in the area, I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
If we find something out, we'll let everybody know.
Yeah.
We can even come on with if we find something out in between episodes, we can even come on with a 5-minute episode that just gives information. If something gets organized, if we have something on the books, we can certainly, get the word out to people. I don't know how many listeners we have in Eastern Washington, in Southeastern Washington.
We'll find out.
Well, yes. So, and then finally, the wool auction is on September 2nd at the Monterey Fairgrounds. And probably the easiest thing to do if you want information, viewing, I think the viewing starts at 9 or 10, where you can actually touch all the fleeces, look at them all. And you can't like trash the bag, take it all out, but you can poke around in the bag of fleece and take a look at them, do some, quality inspection, look at, whether you think it's the right fleece for you. And then the auction starts, I think the auction starts around 11. And you have to go in through a special gate because the fair's not actually even started at that point. I think the fair doesn't open until noon. But anyway, message me. Contact me on Ravelry. 2 Ewes at 2ewesfiberadventures.com is our email, or message me on Instagram. If you are interested in coming to the wool auction on Monday, September 2nd at the Monterey County Fairgrounds, I can get you the information you need, and I can walk you through where you find it if you want to, but it's just difficult to find. It's in the exhibitor booklet with all of how you enter your jam and your pie and your 4-H project and all that. So it's not so easy to find, but I can steer you in the right direction if you're interested in going, and I'm planning to go. I ended up not able to go to the judging. Robert's uncle's memorial was scheduled for that day. So I didn't go to the wool judging, but like I said before, there will be washed locks on a board so you can see what it looks like washed. You can get all kinds of good information about the fleece before you bid. And bidding is fun.
Yes. And people have to go and bid so that you don't buy it all.
Yes. Yes, because I can buy fleece a lot faster than I can spin it.
Yes.
Yes. So anyway, that's it. I think that's all the news for us this week.
Okay.
So
all right.
Enjoy your retirement party and your block party. The things you do to yourself, Marsha.
I know. I know.
You're such a good hostess.
And I have to say, I Kim's party, I emailed everybody, but the block party, I don't know who a lot of the neighbors are, so I just made a flyer and I walked it around. And I was walking out of my house down onto the sidewalk to start walking to people's houses. And I called my brother and I said, okay, once I start delivering one, I can't go back.
Right.
So let's just talk me through this. And he said, just have it. It'll be fun. He'll come and help.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, you've done that. You've done it before, and you've had a good time, and the neighbors are.
Yeah, I have. I mean, it's been, well, and the first time I did it, it was too long. It was 4 hours long, way too long. This is noon to 2 hours. Come, say hi, and go home.
Eat your food, go home.
Yeah, and get the heck out of here. Anyway, but we have a lot of new neighbors, and my old neighborhood, they were so friendly. I mean, there was a lot of. In fact, I'm still have dinner with my former neighbors at the other house, and I find where I am right now is not quite so friendly. And maybe it's a byproduct of the other neighborhood. I raised a child. So there was a lot of other kids in the neighborhood. So I'm still friendly with those families. This, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say it too. It's neighborhoods go in cycles.
Yeah.
And I'm cycling through. I have a lot of young people.
Yeah. It has something to do with the time of their life.
Right. And I think, and I think that they're not really interested in people my age, honestly. I think that's really kind of it. They've got jobs. They're both working. They have kids. They've just had kids. I've got 2 people that just had babies.
Yeah. They're going to spend their spare time with friends their own age rather than spending their spare time with us.
Well, and the thing is, they don't have much spare time.
Right. Honestly. So what they do have, they're going to be very selective about what they do.
Very selective. And I don't reach that bar. Anyway, but I think it'll be fun. Some of the families are coming, have small children, so I did get sidewalk chalk.
Oh, fun!
To have some kind of little activity for the kids, but I'm just hoping to kind of meet some of my neighbors. All right, I guess that's it.
All right,
we'll talk.
Okay.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2ewesfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2 Ewes
doing our part for World Fleece.